What's up, guys? Um, my name is Jay. Before I start, I want to start with a question. Have you ever been in a conversation that got really intense really fast? Right? Now, good. We all we all had these kinds of conversations, right, where it went from light chill to super intense, like really quick, right? And I'm talking about this because I feel this way around this time of the year. Do you guys know what it is? That's it, Easter. That's right, Easter. Now, it's Easter is we usually like have a lot of. It's fun, right? It's chill. It's super great, especially when you're in youth, when you're in Escola Minggu. What's that? Escola Minggu. Easter Sunday School. Yeah, right? You go egg hunting. You paint your eggs. You Easter bunnies, bright colors, and everything. Right? It's great. It's fun. It's chill. It's nice. And then you go to church. You go to church, and then you hear something like this. But he, Jesus, was pierced for our rebellion, crushed for our sins. He was beaten so we could be whole. He was whipped so we could be healed. Isaiah 53, verse 5. That is really intense. That's crazy. you just, for example, you just graduate from youth and you're like, oh, it was great. And you go there and you're like, what? What happened to all the bunnies, to all the colorful stuff going on? What happened to that? Now, it's intense, but then somebody like me points to the cross and says, that is what Easter is all about. Now, we all have these questions in our heads, right? Why did it happen? And how did we get here in the first place? Now, for me, as a young adult, it's important for me to think for myself about who Jesus really is, right? We owe it to ourselves to know who Jesus really is. Not from your grandma, not from your pastor, not from someone on the side of the road that you just met for the first time holding the sign, follow Jesus. None of that. Now, which brings us back again to the cross. The scene most people associate with Jesus. Even if you don't know anything, they usually know about the cross. Because, that's usually what represents Easter, right? But still, that doesn't really answer the question, why did Jesus die? For some of us who grow in the church, we know the answer, right? He died for our sins. We know that. But here's the deal. It still doesn't answer the question, why did he die? Well, we know that sin is a big deal because sin always destroys something inside of us. Sin always takes something away from someone or creates this distance from God that we never intended. Sin costs everybody. It hurts our friendship, our dreams, our relationship, and our self-worth. It ruins your health and everything that you value most. Now, sin can damage our relationship with others, so I feel like it makes sense if sin damages our relationship with God. It's only fair, it makes sense. Whether it's something recent or something that happened a long time ago, we tend to let our past hold us back from the relationship that we want with God, that God even wants with us in the first place. Now, but then what happens when we come face to face with how bad we've messed up? What happens when we realize how much hurt we've been causing others and ourselves? What happens when we realize about our past and we feel like we're too far gone from God? What then? I want to look back at the verse that we talked about before. We've talked about before this, but looking forward into it, Isaiah 53 verse 6, which then continues on saying, all of us like sheep have strayed away. We have left God's path to follow our own. Yet the Lord laid on him the sin of us all. Now, with this, Isaiah is basically saying that it was the rebellion of the people, it was our human sin, and it was just us who, of course, made Jesus die on the cross. when at the end of the day, he did nothing wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. But I feel like that's what makes Easter so great, so extraordinary, because the story doesn't end there. In fact, on the cross, after he'd been betrayed, after all the bad things you saw to Jesus in the movie Passion of the Christ, or whatever you've seen, right? It was intense. That movie is pretty intense. What did Jesus do? What did Jesus do when he was on the cross and that happened? He prayed. In Luke 23, verse 34, it says, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." In other words, when facing the worst humanity had to offer, when facing the sins of those who turned on him, when at the end of the day he did nothing wrong, like I said before, Jesus still forgave. Our sins should separate us, right? And keep us from Jesus, because that is what sin does. It breaks, it destroys. But because of Jesus, what's so great about it is it doesn't get the last word. We've all messed up. Everyone's messed up. Pastor's messed up. I've messed up. The Pope is messed up. Everybody's messed up. But because Jesus made the way, your past doesn't have to hold you back. Now, before I close, I just want to give you these two main points, these two main ideas. Is that, number one, because of Jesus, your past can't hold you back. Meaning, if you've been holding back in your relationship with God, your past doesn't have to hold you back. But, I'm sorry, because if you've been holding back in your relationship with Jesus, you don't have to do that. You can dive headfirst into a relationship with him, and you don't have to change a single thing about yourself. Number two, because of Jesus, no one else's past can hold them back either. Maybe it isn't your past that's holding you back from God, but you've let someone else's past convince you that they're not good enough, that they're not worthy, that they don't belong, all because you've sinned so much, you've did all these bad things. You don't deserve to go to church. You don't deserve to be a good Christian or whatever it is. But I feel like today can really be the day that you take Jesus seriously when he says, "We are forgiven." Whether your past mistakes are big or small, I know that it's difficult to believe that they don't have to hold us back. Sometimes maybe we just need a trusted friend, an adult, or someone, a best friend, to remind us of it, right? That Jesus is always with you because of what he did on the cross. You got nothing to worry about. You are forgiven either way. And because of that, like I said, your past doesn't have to hold you back. Jesus himself said, "We are forgiven." Thank you.